Style Beauty Doctor on YouTube, and in today's video we are going to be talking about the Carli Bybel ABH palette and as to how it pertains on dark skin. So I'm going to do an eyeshadow demo, we'll talk through it, and keep watching. Okay, so the packaging on this is beautiful. The palette as a whole is beautiful, and from what I understand, you know, these are colors that are very, very, very Carli Bybel. Here's what the palette looks like. Those glitter sparkly shades look amazing. The mattes look amazing, but there are a few of the mattes where it's like, that might be ashen on deeper skin. So the thing with this palette, it's not so much that, you know, is this a good quality palette? Because I feel like Anastasia Beverly Hills' track record with eyeshadow palettes, like, definitely not questioning the quality of the palette. I know that these are going to be good quality. I know that they're going to last. I know that the formulas are going to be bomb. But it's just that, is the coloring something that, you know, would work on deeper skin? Looking at it, and I'm going to prime my eyes using the Urban Decay Prime Potion. Let's come in a little closer. The thing with this palette, and I'm sure you can tell by, you know, the extravagant extra packaging, I got that in PR. I would not have bought this palette, just, you know, just looking at it. I would not have bought this palette with my own money, just because these aren't typically colors that I would gravitate towards. They might wind up being really pretty. We might get a really pretty look out of this palette, but you know, I wouldn't, it's not something I would use often enough for me to justify actually owning it, having spent my own money, you know? But if you have a deeper skin tone and you were like, maybe, but you weren't quite sure, like, you know, if the colors were gonna work out, I'm here for you. So I always start out my looks with some sort of like matte beige, just as like as a beige. So I'm gonna start in with Chai, which is this color here. Ooh. Okay, not bad. Okay, Chai. Now, when I do these matte beige colors as like my base, this is never like a color that I would wear on its own. It's just like a base color to help the other colors kind of stand out. Because I like to work in layers when it comes to my eyeshadow. So I like that this one was not ashen. I have no idea what look I'm going for. I'm just throwing colors on my eyes. This is pretty typical of me when it comes to eye makeup looks. But I'm going to go in with this reddish shade here. I'm just going to get that in the crease. Typically, I have no clue what look I want to do on my eyes, but then it winds up being some iteration of what I typically do with my eyes, with just different colors. Which is basically how, you know, you do your eye makeup. You find a shape that works for your eye shape, and I have a video, an eye makeup 101 video that talks about, you know, the different eye shapes and where to put your eyeshadows and what colors and textures and things like that. So make sure you check that out. Eye makeup, if you struggle with your eye makeup, half the battle is in finding a shape that works for you. And then once you find that shape, you just, you know, switch out your colors. You know, just to put it in very, very broad, simple terms. And of course, blending is key too. You want to make sure you blend. So far, so good. I don't feel completely washed out. I don't feel ashen. By the way, you know, obviously I had my highlight, contour, foundation, all that other stuff on. My foundation that I'm wearing today is the Cover FX Total Cover Cream in shade N110. And then everything that I use to highlight and contour, I'll link in the description box. I have a blog post where everything is listed, so you can check out the shades and what shades I wear in other foundations as well. All right, next up, now here's where I think we might get a little bit like, Now this shade here, this shade is a very cool light brown. Now I like cool browns, not necessarily ones that are this light. And again, this is a palette that was made by an influencer with certain coloring. So a brown like that would work very well on a lighter skin tone like hers. But this wouldn't necessarily be my first choice for a brown on someone with my skin tone. Yeah. Nah. Because what's happening here is when I'm doing an eye look, what I look for in an eyeshadow palette, besides like the pretty shimmers and the glitters and things like that, because those are really nice accents, the neutrals have to be able to show up really nicely on my skin. I also look for some kind of color that's gonna deepen or add depth to my eye look, and there's no color here in this palette that would do that. I'm gonna try to erase that a bit. Well, that was easy. So we're just gonna have to adjust the way that I'm doing this look. I like for my eyes to be super defined when I'm doing an eye makeup look, but you know, I could be a little flexible. We'll see what else might work. Now there's so many pretty sparkles in this palette. I have no idea. I'm leaning towards this one, but then I also want to do this one. This one right here, it's not showing up on the camera as it shows in person, but this is like it's a duochrome, so it looks like an icy blue, but then it also has like a magenta, slight magenta hue to it. It's like really, I'll swatch it so you can see. See, here it looks blue, and it's remaining blue. Oh well. I think I'll go with this one, OA. I'm gonna use my pinky. Ooh. Now these colors are pretty. I especially love this OA color. Wow, that's like New Year's Eve, like ring in the new year. But I definitely need something to deepen my eye. That's just my own personal preference and my own style when it comes to eye makeup. I'm filming another video after this. I'm gonna just grab another palette just to kind of get the eye look to look how I want it to. So these colors are pretty, but I definitely want to define my eyes more. And I wanted a brown because I didn't want something black because I felt like black would be a little too heavy for these colors. So you know, I had to pull out the good sis Jackie Honest palette and go right into Credit, which has already hit a little bit of pan on already. I'm like, ooh, do I need to buy a backup? I don't know. But I'm just gonna take that and define my crease. Let's go in there like that. And I'm gonna blend that out. Credit on the bottom waterline as well. See, it's just a little bit more wearable for me. I'm gonna line my eyes with Urban Decay Perversion, and listen, I get my down to the last drop. This is like one of them little cigarettes that your auntie or your mama in the 80s and 90s used to be like, girl, if you don't get away here. Anyway, let me line my eyes, put some mascara on, put some lashes on, basically finish out this look, and then we'll talk a little bit more about this Carli Bybel. I really love this shade. What shade was this that I used? OA, which I just watched Carli's video, and I understand that OA is a television show that she likes that is discontinued, that she's hoping comes back. So, like I said in the beginning of this video, this is not a palette that I would have gone out and paid my own money to get. I'm someone where if I'm going to buy an eyeshadow palette, I have to be able to create an entire look just using the eyeshadow palette. I don't want to have to reach for this one or that one. I mean, that's not to say that I never interchange palettes, but the palette itself has got to work and be able to create an all-around look. In watching Carli's video, I did see that this Bowie color right here, that it can be darkened if you put a little bit of water. I'm going to try it here and show you, and I'll also show you some swatches, but it's still probably not going to be as deep as I would want it to be. Because there's like, well, I don't want to say there's no way this can get as deep as the credit shade that I like from the K1nky palette, but never say never. Alright. I stand corrected. I stand corrected. So that's Bowie with water. Or you can use like your makeup setting spray or what have you. And that's it on its own. So still not as dark as, because let me show you what credit looks like. There's credit, and I do like how credit has like that plummy look to it. But I stand corrected, and I will admit when I'm wrong. But I do like that Bowie does get deeper when you spray it with some either water or your makeup setting spray, and then that's Bowie on its own. I also thought that it was adorable that a lot of these shades are named after like her family members, like nicknames for like her mom, her dad, her sister, her BFF. She has a shade named after her named for her subscribers. She has some shades named after her cats. I just thought that was super adorable. And then in the video, she also talks about how she came about with the colors. Since it is limited edition, she wanted like some really special shades, but also something that people could use every day. This is not a palette that I would use every day. But there are some standout shades in here that I like, that if they were singles, I would definitely buy them and make maybe like a mini palette. This OA color, definitely. Aura, My Angels. This Mandala shade, which I think she said was like a nickname for her sister or her BFF. I can't remember. But this Mandala shade's really pretty. Like, though they're pretty shades out of here that if they came in singles, I would definitely get them. Now, as for you guys, I'm a beauty influencer that doesn't have as much makeup as, the average beauty influencer. For me, it's just so much easier for me to not have so much makeup, because now that I own a lot less, I'm wearing way more makeup. Like, I'm creating different eye makeup looks all the time. Because when I had a whole bunch of makeup in my stash, literally I'd be wearing the same makeup all the time, but kept buying stuff, So I like having less. I can see what I have, yada yada. But some people like collecting makeup. Some people like having extra things. Some people may not mind buying an eyeshadow palette where maybe you only use 80% of the shades that's in it. And if that's the case, if you're like, oh my God, this is pretty, I don't care that, I may not use the mattes very often, then, it's a great palette. Like I said, I've never went into this video thinking that the quality of an Anastasia palette was going to be bad. Really great quality. I love this OA shade. I'm just like, I love it. Some swatches. And I really like how this makeup look came out. But it definitely, for me, for my own personal makeup style and my own taste, I definitely needed a darker color to define my eyes more. Anyway, so here's some swatches. Now the swatches are kind of washed out here in the camera. Swatches, swatches aren't always a great indicator of, what a palette's going to look like on your eyes. But I know you guys like seeing swatches, so here y'all. But yeah, it's a very pretty palette. Like I said, there are a few shades that if they were singles, I would definitely make my own little like mini palette just to have like accents for other eye looks. But I personally wouldn't buy the palette myself. But if you're someone who you don't mind, I don't understand the reasoning behind it, but hey, if you like it, I love it. But if you're someone who you're like, I could use 70% or 80% of the palette, I'll still get it because, I want the palette. You won't be disappointed because it is really great quality, as to be expected from Anastasia Beverly Hills. But a lot of times when people collaborate with brands, it's going to be something that they're going to wear. It's going to be something that's their style. Can't knock that. Can't be mad at that. I just hope that brands collaborate with more people with deeper skin tones going into, we still got a little bit of 2019 left, but especially going into 2020 and beyond. That would be great because, and you might be tired of hearing me saying it, but this the GOAT. Anyway, I've done way too much talking. Now it's your turn. Let me know in the comments, would you get this palette, the Carli Bybel palette? Would you not get it? Tell me why or why not. Have you gotten it already and have already ruined looks? Let me know. Follow me on social. I'll have the links in the description box. And also in the description box, links to things like, what foundation shades I wear in other brands and foundation reviews and, all kinds of beauty reviews, skincare tips, skincare basics, there's a lot of stuff on my blog that you need to check out, basically is what I'm trying to tell you. So the link to my blog will also be in the description box. Make sure you check that out. Support your girl, follow your girl, and I will see you fine folks in my next video. Bye guys.